Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Agozie here. If this is your first time of watching my video, of coming to my channel, please don't make it your last. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome to my channel again. So guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about what I did that made me get my visa approved in one attempt. So I live in Canada currently. I got I got a Canadian visa approval on the 25th of August 2022. And first of all, I'm on a study visa. I'm an international student from Nigeria. I came here on a study visa in September 2022. So first of all, what I did was that for me to get my study visa, I got an admission. I was admitted into a college here in Canada. That was the first thing that happened. I applied for an admission and I got admitted. Then the second thing I did was, after I got my admission, second thing I did was I started gathering my documents. Let me tell you guys a little story. I give you guys a background of how the whole thing went. In January 2022, I applied for an admission. I applied for my admission, and on the 14th of February, yes, I got my offer letter. And from that February 14th, I did not apply for my visa until June 8th. Okay, now I'm not saying that you should do as I did. You should wait as long as I waited before I put in my visa application. This is case by case scenario. I had my reasons why I waited, but I'm not saying you should follow everything I said here, like in terms of the timelines I had, because I had my reasons why I waited for that long. After I got my admission letter on the 14th of February, I reached out to an agent. Yes, I used an agent for my visa processing, but I did not use an agent for my admission processing. Okay, with that being said, so after I reached out to my agent and they sent me a list of documents I would provide, for that they will submit on IRCC websites when they are doing my application. What I did from that February 14th to June 4th, when my visa application was submitted, was that I took my time to gather all those documents. Like I said previously, you may already have your documents. You mustn't wait for so long. And it doesn't also mean that immediately you get your admission, you should apply immediately. Take your time and gather your documents. Make sure your documents are clean. One thing, I made sure that all my documents were clean. No, I didn't have any single fraudulent document. So this, I strongly believe that it also made it possible for me to get an approval. Like I said, I used an agent for my visa processing. Now, some people say don't use an agent. Some people say use an agent. Those that say don't use an agent, they say, oh, you can do the whole thing by yourself, which is 100% true. You can do this whole visa processing, from your admission processing to your visa processing by yourself. But we all have a choice, right? So I made the choice to use an agent. And when it comes to using an agent, some people are like, so when you mention the word agent, some people see agents as fraud. The one I worked with isn't fraud. This is not a paid, I'm not trying to advertise for them or anything. They carried me along all through the process. Even from the time I reached out to them, I told them, okay, I want to use you guys. It was based on referral. My friend used them, and my friend used them. She moved to Canada. She's in Canada currently, and she was the one that told me to reach out to them if I wanted to use an agent. So it was based off referral. I found out that they already have a good track record, So these are the things you should also find out when you want to use an agent. Also ensure that your agent has a good track record. Ensure that the person has a success story. If he has helped 20 people to apply for visa, let me say 12 people at least are supposed to, have gotten an approval. When I was working with my agent, he carried me along all through the process. Now, let me say something. If you're using an agent, not because you're using an agent, you relax and expect them to give you all the information and expect them to do the whole work for you. No, it doesn't work like that. Let me give you an instance. Let me share my own personal experience with you guys. When I reached out to before I reached out to my agent, I was already gathering information. I was watching YouTube videos. In short, the resources that helped me so well in my visa processing was my agent's number one. There are two people that are very, very close, which I'm not going to mention their names in this video for private reasons. They helped me. Nairaland helps me. YouTube videos helped me. Instagram posts helped me. Instagram posts like Olufemi Loye. I don't know if you guys know Olufemi Loye, Joy Chooks. These two people, I trust their posts because they post facts. They don't post lies. Okay, if he's white, he's white. If he's black, he's black. They don't post false news about Canada immigration. You also need to get information. So if your agent is telling you bring X when you should bring Y, how would you know you're supposed to bring Y if you don't have information that you're supposed to bring Y? Do you understand? Also equip yourself with a lot of information on what is important to bring and what is not important to bring. On Nairaland, I read a lot of because Nairaland people also share their own personal experience of how their own visa processing went. You see people that have similar questions as you, like you see people that have similar, that thing troubling you, go on Nairaland, is troubling another person, and there are lots of solutions, like lots of replies under that particular post. And by reading all these things, it will help you gather information and know what and know how to handle any issue you have at that point. So it's not just about using an agent. Be equipped with information. Information is very, very important. Now, another thing again I'm going to mention about using an agent is that while using an agent, if your agent tells you, okay, this document you're not supposed to bring it, or for example, you want to do something and your agent is telling you don't do it, and you are very, very sure that what you want to do is the right thing to do, please, you are paying your agent. Your agent is working for you. That is what I believe. I'm paying you to do this job for me. One, you must carry me along. Two, I'm going to respect you, and I'm going to respect you to the fullest. And I also expect you to respect me in return. Do you understand? So if I'm saying, okay, I'm not pleased with this, you should listen to me. And I'm going to say it to you in a respectful manner. And I also urge you guys to do the same. If you're using an agent, if your agent is telling you, don't just follow anything your agent tells you. If you're not sure, if you're not satisfied, if you're not convinced that it is the right thing to do, please tell them, sir, ma, I'm not convinced. I feel I should bring this document. I feel you should attach this document. I want you to attach this document. Please, in a respectful manner, okay? Another thing that also made it possible for me to get my visa was my SOP. I had a solid SOP. SOP means statement of purpose. When you're applying for Canada immigration, I don't know if if they just do this for Nigeria. I don't know if they have like physical interview in other countries. But the country I'm from, which is Nigeria, there's no physical interview for Nigerians. So in that SOP, which I already said it means statement of purpose or study or statement of intent or study plan, is more like a composition about yourself, telling the visa officer, okay, this is why I'm going to Canada. This is what I want to go to Canada to do. Okay, this is why I chose this school. This is why I chose this course of study. Because there is no physical interview. All those things you know that you are going to tell your visa officer. If it was a physical interview, if you were seeing them physically, in that statement of purpose, aka SOP, that is where you're going to pour your spirit, body, and soul. Now, it marvels me when I hear people say that their agents write their SOP for them. Now, let me give you an example. Imagine in school and they ask you, oh, write a composition about yourself, and you give it to your classmate to write. Your classmate is not you. They're not going to write from A to Z everything about you that if you were the one that wrote that composition, you would have done more justice to it, right? So it doesn't make sense to me hearing that your agent is writing your SOP for you. For me, I wrote my SOP by myself. Then after writing my SOP myself, I gave it to two people to read. Yes, they gave me serious corrections on those SOP, but did I bring the what's that thing called? Did I bring the skeleton? The skeleton is the background, the story. I brought the background and I gave it to people. They were like, okay, remove this, put this, and they did corrections on my SOP. You can also do the same, but you yourself, you know yourself. But when you are done writing, make sure that you have people that you know that intellectually sound, people that you know that are very good with English, people that you know that they can scrutinize your work, they can give you constructive criticism, tell you, oh, remove this, put this, and your SOP will be a very sound one. And if you guys want a video of me reading out my SOP, what was in my SOP, without divulging a lot of information like my personal information, I would gladly do that. If you like, so it would be like a guideline for people intending to apply for their visa come September, or maybe you are trying to draft an SOP, or you need like a guideline, or you are confused on what to write or on how to start. I was there too, and I had a lot. There were a lot of videos on YouTube that also helped me to draft my SOP. So if you need something like that, please indicate in the comment section, and I'm going to read out my SOP here for you guys. Okay. Another thing I did to get a visa approval on my first attempt was that all my documents were real. All my documents were original. Nothing was forged. Now, there is this other thing people do, like they ask their agent to get them a what's it called, a bank statement. People do it and scale through, but I don't know. I feel like all those things I may not get lucky with it, and you may not get lucky with it. A might be lucky, you go and you not be lucky. I'm not praying a bad prayer for you, but Canada immigration, or moving to Canada, or moving to any country at all, requires a lot of planning. After I got my admission on the 14th of February 2022, I did a lot of planning. I didn't apply for my visa March, April, May. I applied in June. I did a lot of planning, and it required me that this 4 months or 3 months plus I had before I submitted my visa, my study permit application. I was gathering my documents. I made sure that each and every document I had did not have any mistake. Like, I avoided mistake like a plague. So it won't be like when you submit your application, like, oh my god, I forgot to, oh my god, I forgot that, oh, I made a mistake. Like, these are things that can be avoided. You wouldn't want to, after waiting all this while, Canada study permits application approval 6 months. So you wouldn't want to wait months and get a refusal, and the refusal will not be based on something you could have submitted. Do you understand? So take your time, gather your documents. If you are doing it yourself, gather all your documents. See, it's not too much. There's nothing like it's too much. Gather all the documents. And before I forget, if you're using an agent is telling you to bring documents. Like for me, to bring documents. Like for me, when I reached out to them, they sent me a list of documents. Before then, I had already gone through the requirements and all the documents on IRCC website. I already knew the documents I was supposed to bring. Then the ones they gave me to was like a plus. So I was able to, from what I know and from what they already gave me, I was able to say, okay. And the ones that weren't clear to me, I was like, so why am I bringing these documents? Don't forget to ask your agent questions. They are working for you. You are paying them. It's not free. It is not free of charge. Ask questions. Any agent you are using that is not carrying you along, that gets very upset or very feisty when you're asking their questions, please drop them. And you should be able to note all these things before you pay them. Well, some people also hide under the cover of that whole deceit. Then when they get the money, they will start misbehaving. Just do your own due diligence. Ask questions before using an agent, please. So about the documents I submitted, I kept on bringing documents. After writing my SOP, any concern I felt the visa officer was going to raise, The visa officer is not going to call you, hi, please, you said that you schooled in XYZ University. Please, can you send me your certificate? The visa officer is not going to give you a call and tell you, oh, this document is not here, or that document is not here. Or you say, my mother has a fishing business, and when you're submitting your document, you did submit your mother's CAC or your mother's business registration document. They are not going to reach out to you to tell you to submit that document. They will give you a refusal. All those things you know that the visa officer will raise suspicions for. Submit all those documents. So that was why I had a lot of documents, because I was trying to suppress any suspicion, or I was trying to answer all the questions that the visa officer could raise and say, oh, okay, if she's saying this, where is this? So I submitted over 30 documents. If you guys also want a video of all the documents I submitted, the one I saw on IRCC website and the one my agent sent to me, I can compile a video, I can compile the list, and I will come here and I'll read out everything to you guys. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to list the most important documents I submitted. One of the documents I submitted my admission letter. Now, after I got my admission, my school asked me to pay a deposit of 1,000 Canadian dollars to reserve a seat in the program. So the receipt they gave me after I paid that 1,000 Canadian dollars, I submitted that receipt to IRCC, telling them, I also stated in my SOP that I already paid a 1,000 Canadian dollars deposit to my school to reserve a seat. So I already have a seat in the program. So I submitted that receipt. Another thing I submitted my SOP. That's the statement of purpose, the thing I told you guys about, more like a composition about yourself, stating your intent and why you want to go to Canada. So I submitted my SOP. The next document I submitted was bank statements. I avoided lump sum. This is a very good point. This is another thing that I think it also helps me to get a visa approval. I avoided lump sum. Lump sum is when a huge amount of money drops into your account. For example, you have an account and what normally enters the account is like 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, and all of a sudden 2 million just enters the account. It's also going to raise suspicion of the visa officer. They will be like, so why is this money entering now? Where is this money coming from? And most especially if you do not address where that money is coming from in your statement of purpose, you may get a refusal. So I avoided having lump sum. Now let me give you guys a short story. Before my study permit application was submitted, my sponsor had a specific amount of money that has been in that account for like 6 months. And we felt that money wasn't enough because we wanted that money I wanted to have a certain amount of money in the account. And we were expecting more money to come. And I already had like 2 weeks. We had like 2 weeks before my study permit application was submitted. So what I did was that I spoke with my agent and I told my agent, okay, we are expecting some money, which is also coming from, it's my sponsor's money and it's also coming from a legit source. But in as much as that money was coming from a legit source, I did not want the visa officer to raise that suspicion of why is this money dropping now. So I told my agent that what I would like to do for that money that was going to enter, I didn't want that money to enter into the account, the 6 months bank statements we already had. In the other bank that we already had money that has been there for 6 months. I don't know if you understand. So what I told him was that, okay, I would like to do a gift deed. A gift deed is a document that you use when someone gives you money. If someone gives you money, you can say, okay, you can go to court and get a document called the gift deed document. It states that this money or this landed property was gifted to you. I had a gift deed document. I was gifted some money, and the total money we had rounded off to the required amount of money I wanted to use for my visa processing. Do you understand? I hope this makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense, just let me know in the comment section. I'm going to try as much as possible, or maybe I'll make a video about how to prove funds. If you're interested in that, just drop a comment in the comment section. So I had my sponsor's bank statement, and I also had my own bank statement because I was gifted some money. Yeah, so and everything was what? Legit. Nothing was fraudulent. I keep saying this, do not use fraudulent documents. Another important document I submitted, which I think a lot of people make this mistake, a lot of people omit, is consent letter and affidavit of legitimacy affirmation. Now, consent letter is your sponsor writing a letter stating that, okay, I know this person, and this person is my daughter, this person is my sister, this person is my brother, this person is my stepdaughter, and I'm giving my consent to be sponsoring this person to go to Canada and study. I'm going to be taking care of this person's tuition. I'm going to take care of this person's feeding, this person's living expenses. And also, I also provided affidavit of sponsorship. It's kind of like the same with affidavit with consent letter. Another thing I submitted, which I've already mentioned, is affidavit of legitimacy affirmation. Now, this affidavit of legitimacy affirmation is a type of affidavit whereby your parents, your mom or your dad will say, okay, this is my daughter. I am aware that this daughter of mine is going to Canada. Now, this is a way to prove home ties. Home ties is one of the reasons why people get denied. Now, if you are bringing that affidavit of legitimacy affirmation, your parents or either of your parents are already stating that they are aware that you are traveling. That means you're also trying to tell the visa officer that you have parents and your parents are back home, and your parents are aware that you are traveling to go and study. Okay, so the visa officer is aware, okay, this person has someone back home, has parents back home, has something that can always bring them back home. So it's a very good way to prove home ties. Also, in that affidavit of legitimacy affirmation, your parents or either of your parents will state, okay, these are all your siblings, all the names of your siblings are going to be stated in that affidavit of legitimacy affirmation. All the names of your siblings, their year of birth will be stated in that affidavit of legitimacy affirmation. Also, in my SOP, I also stated that both my parents are alive. They live in Nigeria. I do not have any family in Canada. All my family live in Nigeria. All my family are all back home. And also, there is this other form that you're going to, that I downloaded from IRCC website. My agent also sent me the form. I filled family information. I stated what my parents do for a living, the occupation of all my siblings, and also all their location and their date of birth. I also did that in that family information form. Another document I submitted was a police clearance report. I went to the police headquarters in Abuja. I don't know if it's at Sokoro. I think it's at Sokoro, the police headquarters. And when there, I paid 15,000 naira to get a police report, and I also submitted that police clearance certificate. Another important document I submitted was my IELTS result. I wrote IELTS, and the required band score, I think it was just 6.5, like for the overall band score. I think it was one of the things that also helped me to get a visa approval. Another document I submitted, I feel also that helps me to get a visa approval. I did an upfront medical. Now, an upfront medical is going ahead to do your medical without them asking you to do your medical. I don't know if that makes sense. Before I submitted my study permit application on the 20th of May, I don't know, I think on the 20th of May, I went to the place called IOM place. I booked for my medicals and I went to the place. I had an appointment and I went there and I did my medicals. I think it was also one of the things that helped me. This last point is very, very important, very extremely important. I prayed. Me, I believe in God. I prayed about this application. It may sound funny, but God still answers prayers. At some point, I didn't have faith I was going to get an approval because I was like, first of all, I already have a BSc. I was coming to Canada to come and like start afresh, do nursing. So I was like, I didn't know if I was going to get it, because it may be like, why after studying BSc microbiology, why do you want to do nursing? I already addressed that I already addressed it in my SOP, my statement of purpose. But you know, that whole doubt of what if. But in the midst of what ifs, I prayed, like my family prayed, we all prayed about it, and it happened. After I submitted my application on the 4th of June, I did my biometrics on the 8th of June, and I got my passport request on the 15th of August. And I sent my passport to the VFS office. On the 25th of August, I got my passport back, and I got ready and I came to Canada. So I've come to the end of this video, and if you are praying, and if you are waiting, and if you are planning to come to Canada, just plan. You know, immigration is not something you wake up and you just say, oh, I want to move. You have to plan. You have to get your documents, gather your documents, and make sure your documents are legit. I've said this like 10 times. Pray about it, and you will get it, and you'll be here come 2023. So yeah, I've come to the end of this video, and please subscribe to my channel, and thank you for the love I've been getting from my moving vlog. If you've not yet watched it, please just click on this eye here and go and watch it. Thank you, and I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Bye.